Disturbed destroys championship banners. We've got behind the scenes footage of Hanabie. We sat down for an interview with Joe from Fox News. We got some really cool exclusive clips for you all. Plus, my friend Champ also shares his first thoughts on hearing NINI music for the very first time. This is the Solid Sound Podcast, where we talk about our favorite artists from all over the world. We go live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, so please join us for the live conversation. Enjoy the show. You want to talk about Disturbed, like burning down a venue? Or trying to burn down a venue?
I did hear about that one in passing, but I haven't read up on it. So if you want to tell me more information about it, I would love to give my 2 cents.
So, I was exaggerating a little bit, okay? Disturbed show caused some destruction. During Disturbed's concert on March 8th, the band's pyrotechnic effects damaged the Chicago Bulls championship banners hanging in the arena. The United Center displays these banners as a tribute to the team's 6 NBA championships when Michael Jordan was their star basketball player in the 90s. The banners hung high in the rafters of the arena, but the heat from the pyrotechnics was strong enough to impact them. The arena spokesperson confirmed that the banners had been removed for repairs. I don't even know how the fuck you go about repairing that, but reassured the public that they would be restored to the original location before the next NBA season. In my head, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna make new ones or what?
Yeah, there's no way you can repair a banner. But regardless, I feel like when you first hear about a story like this, at least for me, my first thought is like, Jesus Christ, how did they not have the safety protocols to ensure that this doesn't happen? But then I think about it a little further, as this is a metal band going into a stadium and burning down the ceiling, and I just think, God, that is so fucking metal. This is the most metal thing that Disturbed has ever done in their lives. It was an accident, but it's as metal as Disturbed
It's
gets.
a pretty dumb accident, in my opinion, because as a stage manager, you should be knowing what's happening with a concert and what they're going to be set up. And I think the comment section picked up on that pretty well. One of the top comments here by Alexander here. So here's a dumb question. Why didn't they just take them down before the show? Yeah, why didn't they? Because you would absolutely know that they have pyrotechnics. You have to get a code or some license from even the fire department, or you have to be following certain codes in the venue when you do anything with pyrotechnics. So they knew there's going to be fucking fire shooting up everywhere. And they didn't think, hey, we have all these banners hanging around. It might be a good idea to roll them up and put them away.
This was Chicago, you said, right?
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah, it's actually pretty surprising. For a long time, they didn't even let pyrotechnics inside at these stadium shows. There was a good, 6 or 7 years there in recent memory where they just weren't having that in a lot of venues in America, even though they were still allowing it overseas and stuff like that. But they've recently made it it's become really common again to just have pyro inside. So I guess they've become more lax on it, but it doesn't seem like it's even the pyro that was the issue in this situation. It was the heat from the pyro that was so insanely hot that something caught on fire without even having a fire in the first place, it's a little harder to predict that happening. This is now a climate control issue. The ozone layer is collapsing, and now it's going to start fires at the top of the ceiling.
I want everyone to put your best Disturbed puns in the chat for me. We got one in the comment section on this video. So it stupefies me that the banners weren't behind glass. I don't know. That's pretty weak one, though. I don't know. Why was that upvoted so much? I don't even understand.
That's low-hanging fruit right there. Whoever said that, buddy.
Who's got a clever one?
I will say, to be fair, though, I don't know enough about Disturbed songs to even make a good pun.
That's a good point. I was at the show. I didn't even realize the heat warped or damaged the banners. But to be fair, I was too busy being mesmerized by the show. I'm honestly surprised the venue or organizing staff didn't take them down or roll them up for the show, considering they had to know that Disturbed was going to have a ton of pyro in their set. I just hope this doesn't get put on the band and they are expected to pay for the damages, because this is definitely the fault of the organizers not thinking this through. And I agree. And that's what I was talking about earlier. The organizers fucked up here.
It's definitely
the manager's fucked up, all right? This is not on the band. I don't think this would fall on the band, in my opinion. Normally, it is the managers that will get reamed. Someone got fired. I'm just saying. Someone got fired from that gig, 100%. The people that live there are probably pissed.
Right? Yeah, because we're talking about like Michael Jordan. These are like
Yeah.
historic. These are almost like historic documents that have been
Yeah.
burned like in front of the world. So I get the sentiment, but yeah, unless somebody came up to friggin' the guys in the band and were like, "Hey man, listen, we got to turn down this pyro," and they were like, "No, fuck you, we're metal." There's then it has nothing to do with them.
Janice says it can be remade. I don't know. Like people will be like, but it's not the original one. It's not the one made in the 90s when it was
That's the
actually
problem,
made.
right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem. It's,
Yeah.
it's a recreation.
You want to hear about a strange band breakup? So this is a band that I didn't know about. This is a band called Gel that was touring with some pretty predominant artists like Volbeat. They were on shows with Volbeat and many others. Big artists that they were touring with. Broke up, though. The band broke up. So this is what the band posted, okay? So this is the band here, all right? Hey, everyone, friends and fams. Gel's no longer a band. Therefore, will not be playing any of our currently upcoming shows. The reason is pretty simple. The former guitar player, Anthony Webster, has committed such heinous acts in trying to forward himself in his musical career that he's done irreparable damage to the band in the process, and it's affected us as human beings to the point of being completely unable to do the band anymore. And by the way, this is him. All right.
To the left.
He's stolen tens of thousands of dollars from us. And the best part is, champ, that he left it all on record for us to eventually find. He's really smart. This guy, he does look like someone that would steal a bunch of money. My first impression would be like, oh, he looks like a douchebag.
I wonder what kind of music they play. Like, how did you even find this?
If I'm judging a book by its cover, I look at this band and I see problems. I don't know why. It just radiates problems in this band.
Looks like they've got Chappelle Roan as the female vocalist. They've got Old Man Eminem, Jack Black without any facial hair. Yeah, that screams problems.
He spent it on his own rent, personal food orders, and really whatever else he wanted. For a long period of time, no one had access to the bank account, or any accounts for that matter, but him. See, why would you give? I guess every band does give access to one person, right, to handle the financials.
I guess this is like how the guys and guys let you control all the money. Somebody's got to do it.
But that's why I'm so transparent with financials. I always sent screenshots of everything, the count, how it was done, and all that stuff. That's how you got to do it.
You got to question how long this has been going on for, right? Because at what point are they going, hey, did we make no money last year? Did we not have an income at all? They had to have questioned this throughout the course of time if he was stealing tens of thousands of dollars from them. They must have really trusted him.
Despite numerous attempts to gain access, and we should have all had access to those things. Agreed. He also spent it on OnlyFans purchases and mysterious Cash App transactions. Totally get why the band broke up already. He posted nude images of band members on Reddit for the whole world to see. My question here, champ, when I first read this, how the fuck did he get nude images of the band?
Yeah.
Like, this is why I feel like there's more to the story than just him being a piece of shit. I think it might be a collective piece of shit thing going on there.
Unless he took them without them knowing. He's got nude pictures that he's posting, likely to share with his other porn addict friends.
2. By the way, luckily, he's truly terrible at covering up his tracks, so we have the receipts to prove that one too. He put us in physically dangerous situations numerous times, from talking shit on the band Twitter and getting our van window smashed in with a baseball bat, to regularly driving erratically like a psychopath because he was upset for who knows what reason. Oh yeah, he wouldn't let anyone else drive either, so we just had to deal with it. What? Like, I feel like there's missing shit in this. I really do. It's like one of those situations where I like really want to hear his rebuttal to this. I really do.
The problem that I'm having with this is, why was the rest of the band just so okay with this guy being in power, in control with everything, even though he's a freak?
He had to be a main writer. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, I wonder if the reason that they put him in control of the money is maybe because he already had some kind of sense of accounting or ability to do something like that. Probably a collection of things that like he was responsible for, and they felt would possibly hurt the band or whatever to try to
champ?
Get in the middle of it.
You ready for this next one? And throwing things at us because he's a little fucking baby and can't handle himself like an adult. I'm sorry, if any human is fucking throwing things at me, fuck that. I'm out.
Yes, me too. That's the thing. Like, I'm really struggling to be like, why didn't you guys walk out of the fucking room or throw something back? Did we look at the same picture of this guy? I'm sorry, but I could beat that guy up. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm really curious to see if anyone says anything else about it. But now I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, why didn't you just stop dealing with it? Yep, you read our mind. Why didn't you just leave? If you've ever been in an abusive relationship, emotionally and or physically, you'll probably understand this better. I get that. I do, but
There's 5 of them.
there's 5 of them. yeah, there's 5 of them. But with your life's work and passion at the forefront as well, it's not so easy to just give us something that you care so much about. We wish that this could have all been easier, and we wish that it didn't have to end this way. On that note, we'd like to send our most sincere, deepest apologies to anyone who this is affecting on a personal level and beyond. We truly hope for the best for all of you. Thank you so much to the friends we've made over the years, and thank you so much to our fans for always being there for us and showing us how much you care. Take care of each other and love your friends. Love, Gel. So I understand that because I let the original lineup of Dicodec go on too long. It was a very toxic relationship, as in the verbal, not like anything physical, luckily. It was a lot of people not doing their part in the band. We're trying to get it going, and we let it go on for 6 years. And it was one of those moments that I learned, why did I let it go on that long when you got to hurry up and move on? Dicodec was one of those situations where they would play emotional games with band members in the group, and it was just too much. So that was like the original lineup. And it was one of those things that I was thinking, you know what, I get her, but don't.
There's a part of me that goes, if you put yourself into their situation and you just think about this for a second, why didn't they just replace this guy? If they still have the rest of the band and they have a tour lined up, why not just replace this guy?
Yeah.
Generally, that means that he's irreplaceable. So if you can't just replace this guy because he's irreplaceable, then you're probably more willing to put up with his bullshit because of that. You were probably right the first time when you said that he's probably the main writer.
He
or
had to
something
be.
along the lines where if he's not a part of the band, there's no music anymore.
Like I said, if I judge a book by this cover, looking at the band, it looks like there's more issues than just the guitars.
The music industry itself is not very conducive to musical artists.
I've been very fortunate to deal with some of these other bands from different cultures, and it's been so much more chill. It's crazy how much more chill it is sometimes than when I'm dealing with American artists and groups. Not saying all of them, it just tends to be a lot of them. But for the most part.
Yeah, there's obviously the cultural difference, but it's also like the pay.
Yeah.
The way that people get paid differently in the music scenes, that kind of goes into all of this, where it's just the idea that the industry itself is not friendly to the people that are performing in the industry makes it so that the people that are performing in the industry are just generally have a willingness to go above and beyond. I'm willing to push this as hard as I can to maybe get over that hump, get over that level, because this is the only thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's different than other genres of career.
NINI Music. You checked them out for the very first time. What are your overall thoughts on it? And I'm curious on what songs you actually checked out, if you remember. But yeah, go ahead.
The names was the one that you sent me, which was let's see,
the new single. Yeah, their new
Breaking
single.
the Chains.
Yeah.
So I listened to that and the cover of Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Okay.
So I don't know what the rest of their music sounds like, so it's hard to draw like any kind of like comparison to what their sound would normally be versus what this song sounded like, the Breaking the Chain song. Is this generally like their sound, their vibe?
No, it's not. Like she does like some kind of rap thing in this one, which I thought was interesting. That's why I was like, check out the new single first, because it has elements that she uses in all the other songs. I definitely think there's better songs, in my opinion, but that was a very diverse song. And the mix has gotten way better now that she has a band included. And I don't remember if they played that one live. Janine, you were with me. Did they play that song live? I don't remember if she played it live. I think she did. I think she did play it live. And I already forgot.
So she recently got a band together. Like she didn't have a band before.
I think it was in the past couple years she's gotten it together. So when I say recent, I say that very vaguely. Like it's been a little bit. It's been in the works. Very fascinating interview. If you want to learn more about the band, check out my interview with NINI Music, the band. It was really in-depth interview, and they really explained a lot of things and how they got together.
So is she playing a banjo? What's she playing in that video?
It's I forget the name. It's she uses
Japanese.
No, Chinese traditional instruments, and because she's coming from Taiwan. And
Oh, okay.
she
Oh, cool.
uses, and the fascinating part that she mentions in the interview is that she uses one of the instruments that they don't often use in Taiwan. That's what she was mentioning to me in the interview. She said she wants to make it popular, and that's why she really focuses on using that one in particular.
Interesting. It actually sounds a lot like a Korean instrument that they use relatively consistently as background noise in Korean songs nowadays, but it's a really cool sound. I've always been a fan of that, like when you can hear the pluck in stringed instruments. So when somebody has a violin and they start plucking it, or even like a harp or something like that, you get the same sensation with this, where it's you get that extra sense of percussiveness.
Yep.
When you hear a pluck. And I love that. I love that it just makes it gives it a little bit more of an edge. I liked her vocals. The song itself came across to me as if they were going to make, let's say they were going to make a sequel to Rocky, another sequel to Rocky, and set it in Taiwan. This would be like the theme song for it. It felt very much like we can make like, there could be an action scene going on in the back while this song is playing in front of you. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool song. I would definitely want to hear more, though.
Yeah, we'll come back next week. We'll talk about some other songs. I would love to hear your suggestions down below. Just drop us a bunch of comments. Which song do you think Champ should check out next by NINI Music? We would love to know.
Probably. Yeah, see, somebody's saying she was on America Got Talent, and that's actually, I would like to see her perform live. Just the song itself gave the sense that she seems more like a live performer than anything else.
My only gripe with the live performance was the mix of it. Of course, everyone's gonna fucking flame me for that one, but the guitars were too low. I felt like they should have been louder. But when I did the interview afterwards, it made sense why they were lower, because NINI was saying it's really hard to get the traditional instruments to be out front. But I also was thinking in my head, I'm like, but I wonder if they tried certain mixing techniques that was in my head that they could have done to oomph the guitars, but still put the main traditional instrument to the forefront and still make it hear. Because it is hard. It is hard to mix traditional instruments with distorted guitar. So I think for what they had, it sounded good. I didn't feel like they were a little too low. You could hear a lot of the drums. Are you talking about the America's Got Talent? I'm talking about the live performance. The live performance. So America's Got Talent is just her. Right, guys? Just her, not the full. I haven't even seen that performance. Maybe we should check that out.
So you interviewed her, right?
Yeah.
You talked to her? Okay. Because I always have this question whenever I see like a quote unquote solo artist. What is their, it's hard to actually articulate, but what is their goal for how they want to be perceived? Do they want to be perceived as a solo artist who has people around them working with them, or do they want to be perceived as like a band? Because generally speaking, what you end up having with a solo artist is the instrumentation in the back starts to come down a little bit.
Yes.
And you get more of a feature on that like main star of the group, where like their vocals might be a little bit louder. Listen to somebody like Otto or something like that. The mix is different than if it was just like Nemophila or something like that. So it's like, what does she want? What is she looking for? Is she looking for that band sound, or is she looking for that focused featured solo act sound?
That new song that they just released, I thought that was a very good balance of a mix. I thought that was a way better balance of a mix, and highlighting her voice, the traditional instrument, and the guitar sounded beefier than prior ones. What did you think? I know you haven't heard the other ones. What did you think of that, since you just heard that new song?
The mix for Breaking the Chains?
Yeah.
I thought it sounded good.
Nothing was lacking, I didn't feel.
It didn't sound like a solo artist mix either. It sounded more like a band artist mix to me. But that ends up changing when you go live with solo artists a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think it'll get better. I think there is a way to do it. They're going to have to do a lot of things where you bust certain tracks into one track and do some compression, so it'll bring those lower sounds louder, and it could like keep everything even, and it'll get better. I don't know how many tours they've done. I think they've only done a few, if I'm not mistaken. So it's always a learning curve. It's always going to get better.
The mix in this music video was, I wouldn't have changed anything myself.
And the music video is perfect.
Felt really good about it.
Yeah, the music video was perfect, I thought. It's one of those things you see where when you go check them out again, you're always going to see improvement with those bands, or people that just saw Disturbed. I'm sure that was fucking phenomenal, but they've been touring for years. They got that shit down. They got the right people behind them managing them. We got to remember, NINI Music's still pretty independent. They have a manager and stuff like that, but they don't have, I don't think they had a designated sound person. Normally bands will get a designated sound person eventually. Like when I went on tour with Edge of Paradise and Firewind, they all have their own sound guy, and they know exactly how to manipulate their sound. And that's very common practice when you're going on tour tour, you have a sound guy with you, which is
Yeah.
awesome, which is so nice.
I agree. I think that she's got a lot of promise. Like, I want to hear more from her. I want to hear like the different types of stuff that goes on with her writing. She's writing the music, I'm guessing.
She's writing with the band. They all play a part in the writing, is what they said during the interview. Yep.
All right, that's, in my opinion, that's always how it.
You can tell, like with that new song too, that everyone just had a part, and I think it's mainly the other singer, Jesse, the other singer, who's a great vocalist, by the way. Woo! I was impressed because you hear vocalists go from screaming to clean in recordings, and you're like, that's pretty good. It reminded me when I saw Phil Labonte from All That Remains, and he completely butchered the shit out of it when he was first learning how to do clean vocals. He completely he didn't have it down yet. I think he has it down better now. He has it down better now. So I was wondering if I was gonna get the same thing with Jesse. Nope, he fucking nailed it. And he talked about that too in an interview, how he practiced his clean vocals when he got a coach, and then he realized his breathing was incorrect and actually made his screams better. But he was transitioning perfectly. And he's when they did Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears live, I was like, holy shit. It sounds good. They're killing it. They're killing it. I was like, they're doing great. So we'll get a good NINI music playlist for you, just like with a few songs for you to check out during the week, so we can talk about it next week, so you can see what else they're about. 'Cause I'm really curious. I think that one song is good, but there's some better ones I think that they have done together. 100%. Cool. We got Hanabie, Tasty Survivor. Bro, that song was so good. It's so fucking good. Did you like it? You didn't like it, did you?
I didn't. No, I did like it. I thought it was a good song. I thought it was like a really solid Hanabie song.
It was like a great song. It was more than solid. You were underselling this.
I might be underselling it. Oh, like,
you've been listening from YouTube, okay? You don't even know.
I was rocking out to it. Put it that way. Like, I was banging my head while I was listening to it, and I really like that. So I've said this before with Hanabie, where I don't really love when they do the like talking eggyo parts of it.
It's just a little bit.
No, it was more, but I do like when she does it in more of a rap flow, which is what she did in this song. So I like it better in this song. This is the style of that type of thing where I actually get on board with it. And there was a lot of screaming. It was like that. It was like the rap flow right into the screaming. And I really liked the kind of like juxtaposition between the two of them and where they came in.
Cynical said it was time to bring the full of shit pull back.
The full what?
The full of shit pull back. We always would do a full of shit pull when somebody was going against the song back in the day.
Oh, is that? See, now this is an inside joke that I'm not privy.
Now we're making you privy now. So when people say, "Oh, this is full of shit pull," they just mean that it means that you actually absolutely love the song and it's amazing, and you're just shitting on it for no reason.
Actually, I'm going to use that going forward. Let me say this. Let me drop my exact like most condensed feelings on this song as I can. Really enjoyable, but nothing I haven't heard them do before.
See, I disagree. Oh, man. Okay, no, you're right. It's definitely everything that they've done before, but they capitalize on every single element of their past songs, and they're able to put it in one song. In 2 minutes! They did this all under 3 minutes.
Short.
All under 3 minutes, they got every single genre that they have done leading up to this song in it. There's a lot of things I like about this song. And one of them is the overall sound has gotten better. I don't even know how that's fucking possible. She has this beautiful LTD that she's playing in there. I wonder if she recorded with that, because I was talking about during my reaction, that's a very good guitar to record with. I used to have one. I really regret selling it, but I really love it. And then something that I was really honing in on is they went crazy with the vocal layers, Matsuri, and they've been developing her mix for her voice for a while. They absolutely nailed it on this one. They absolutely nailed it. And I love that they take the octave harmonies, put them higher than normal, because a lot of other vocalists would not do that. They would put those a lot lower, but I like how they use that as a highlight of her voice, and it works really well. Like, they have a signature mix for Matsuri's vocals, and I love it. And I hope they keep that. They've been developing it for a while. You've been hearing it evolve from song to song, and it just keeps getting better, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I have to actually back you up on that part too, because I think that the first thing that I noticed was how much I liked her vocals when the clean part came up. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit, actually. My favorite part of the song is probably when she comes in. There's something about where the transition comes after the screaming, and there's like a little blank part of guitar. There's like nothing that happens for a second, and then it slides in and starts doing a palm mute. And it does palm mute for 3 out of 4 bars before it goes into the chorus. That's my favorite part of the song. Weirdly enough, it's the part without any screaming. It's the part where the other singer's singing. As much as I love, but I loved the sound of when her vocals came up, and yeah, you're right, the octave layering
Yes.
that's on there with that palm mute, for whatever reason, like the sound itself, the soundscape that it created, it's my favorite part of the song. I thought it sounded so good. And I think it does have a lot to do with how they're editing her vocals, how they're mixing her vocals, and how they mix the guitar underneath. I think
Yes.
both of that created such a perfect vibe for the song itself.
Dude, they absolutely crushed all the tones on this song. The tones are absolutely phenomenal on it. I isolated the bass. The bass is perfect, dude. It has this nice chink to it with distortion on there, and oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Ken was saying in chat, it is a new ESP. I had a feeling it looked like an LTD. It looked like it said LTD, but it's the same company anyways. But either way, it doesn't matter. Those guitars are really great recording guitars, and if she did record with that, you can tell. If they didn't, then they just mixed it. They mixed it way better. It was just a flawless mix of it. It really captured the band's energy and highlighted the best features about them. And something with the chorus that's really cool, when you check it out, champ, listen for this. They insert certain octave harmonies during certain parts of the chorus to give it more dynamics during it, which I thought was cool. And I loved how it started off with a simple chord progression, and then right at the tail end of the chorus, it gets like progressive just for a split second. That was something that really stood out to me because it would lead back into the verse, which had this amazing slide guitar riff that was, I want to learn it. I want to learn on guitar. It was so good. I'm actually going to talk to my friend Becca, see if she wants to cover this song with me, because this would be a fun cover to do.
This is one of those songs that to me sounds like a live song, where it's going to sound really good in a live setting, which also I think is benefited by the length of the song. But it was interesting because we listened to a lot of these Japanese bands, and some of them are they just can't help but do key change constantly, like Passcode.
That's right. They did a key change. Sorry.
In every fucking song. Yeah. And they did a key change at the end of the song, which is not a Hanabie thing. They're like one of the few Japanese bands that just don't really do that often. So when they did it, because I was waiting, I was like, what are they going to do for the end of this song? And then they did a key change for the chorus, and I was like, holy shit, that was pretty cool. And I thought that was cool because they don't do it a lot. Now, if Passcode did it, I'd be like, that's so common and normal. But like when they did it, I was like, that was a smart place to put that key change.
Japanese musicians really like to do those key changes. It's so common. It is pretty common in there.
Except for with a band like Hanabie doesn't really do it.
Yeah.
Bandmate doesn't really do it. Very rarely. But like a lot of the more progressive bands, any of the bands that have progressive tendencies, that they can't help themselves. They do it all the time. Unlucky Morpheus. Constantly. Yeah.
So the Twitch poll right now says, is a champ full of shit? 65% yes, 35% maybe.
I just like to call it the people that are on YouTube right now. I just went over to Twitch and I saw that poll myself. Just so you know, there was no option for no. It was just 5 yeses and a maybe. So
no,
obviously,
there was a no on there. It's somewhere on there. It was 0%.
No, but ultimately, listen, if we're gonna sit here and give the song a rating, like a school grade or something like that,
it's a school grade.
It's a B+ for me. Like it's a solid B+, and I think that's really good for a song, especially a metal song, where I'm picky about metal songs.
I give it a 7, which is really good. If they elaborated more in the song and went longer and it took me on some type of journey, I would have gave it higher. But 7 is like awesome for me. That's like a phenomenal song. Talking about the Hanabie interview. How you doing, man?
Been crazy, man. And the Hanabie show was amazing. I don't know. I just sent you a little behind the scenes stuff that's not going to make the final piece.
Okay.
And also on that one clip is them watching your video.
I sincerely appreciate you doing that, and a lot of people enjoyed the reaction. We did post it up on the channel. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a reaction to me reacting to them, reacting to our cover, some reaction inception. But yeah, let's check out this behind the scenes clip.
Hello. Hi. Okay, so yeah, perfect. So we're gonna do this like we did. I don't know if you remember me, but last year in Connecticut. So we're gonna do it the same way. I'm gonna give you the microphone. I'll ask. Yeah, and you just pass the microphone between you.
Okay.
Okay, and then what we'll do is I'll ask the question. Candace will translate, and then you answer in Japanese. And then she'll tell me. Make it easier.
です。で、ジョーがこのカメラの後ろにいるんですけど、基本的にはジョーを見
And
て
you'll
くだ
talk
さい。
to me.
Okay.
Okay, ignore all the other stuff.
いや、わかりました。
All right, and Eric, I'm actually not going to use this, so my sound will come off my shotgun.
Okay.
Okay.
Less stress for me.
Okay. Yes. So just let me do a last minute little tight shot focus, and we have a little surprise for you at the end too.
And this is a reaction that you guys can check out that's on the channel. So this is like a little bit before the behind the scenes. So a lot of people were asking, where's the rest of the band? I believe Kino was sick.
She was really sick. And I believe Chica was basically staying with her on the bus because they didn't even know if she was going to make the show. And I'll tell you, I give her mad props because when I saw her come in, she was like in a hoodie and sweats. And she really looked like she'd been through it. But about an hour and a half later, after the interview, she was on stage and brought it. And I put a little compilation together of 2 songs.
Okay.
That's the other video. Funny backstory on this is the back end of this, when she jumps off the stage to go high five everybody in the crowd and everything, when she jumped down, she put my second cameraman, my friend Eric, was there. She basically put her hand on his head to jump down off the stage. And you get to see that a little bit when in this clip.
And that's what happened when I went to her gig the first time that they came around. She like literally was on my shoulder, the top of my head, because it was right in the front at that small venue, which is wild because I don't think we'll ever be able to see them in a small venue again. That's never going to happen. Those days are over. I'm so happy I went to that tour when they came here and they were already
When
just
we saw them in Connecticut, that was awesome.
Yeah, see, that show was bigger than the first one I went to, though, because the very first tour, I saw them, I can't remember what state it was. It was Nebraska? Somewhere near Nebraska. Because I remember it was Hanabie, and then we saw Baby Metal. I can't remember, but if you remember from the channel, let me know in the comment section. I wonder how dizzy she was feeling when she was doing that. Yeah, she's getting into it.
Yeah, little fear. This is a proper theater, and they packed it out real good.
Every gig I've went to see Hanabie, it's been a packed gig. Every single one of them, even that small venue, they barely could fit us all in there. That's so cool they lifted her up. I was wondering what she was going to do. She was going to jump up there.
Her laying down was the real deal. She had it. That was near the end of the show.
Yeah, I hope she was able to recover quickly.
I got to tell you, though, they're one of the nicest bands I've ever met. Honestly, when you saw in that little thing when they walked in and Matsuri, I asked her, do you remember me? And she said, oh, yeah, I remember you. And the whole time they were just very welcoming. You'll see when the interview gets published that it was just, they were so into answering what I was asking them. And they gave long, involved answers. I asked them, one of the questions was, I asked them, who's designing your look now? And Hetsu gave me a great answer. And really, like her best friend from high school is helping them design their look. And the rest of the band is totally on board with it because they're friends with her also. It was less of an interview and more of a conversation. And it was like really cool. And it's really tough sometimes because I got to wait for the translation after they give me their answer to understand.
What's fascinating is with what you're saying about waiting for the translation to see the answer. I know when I did the interviews in Japan, that was probably the most coolest thing to do is watch the video back with all the translations. I'm like, oh, that's what she said. Oh, I thought she said that, but she actually said this. It was really trippy seeing the answers so delayed or so after the fact.
So I'm reacting to them speaking to me in Japanese.
Yeah,
So I got to basically read their body language to know how to react
exactly.
physically to them, because I really don't know what they're saying.
Mm.
But you can tell from their mannerisms and what they're saying, and just a lot of head nodding, and yeah. And then I wait for the translation, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. But this interview is going to be really good, and my bosses are like so on board with this whole thing right now, because all the Japanese stuff I've been doing has really been doing well for the station. So they're like, give us more. And so I reached out to Baby Metal to see if when they come and play Madison Square Garden, if I can get some time with them. They're tough.
We're hoping it goes through. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's tougher than Bandmate, I don't think, though. that was a long time for that interview. But guys, that's the name of the business. This happens quite frequently. I think a lot of them are changing that. Hanabie is really quick about responding and asking for the edits right away. A shout out to Candace, who really expedites everything when it comes to interviewing.
She's so on top of it.
Hanabie is different from the other groups from Japan in the sense that they are more in tune what's going on with social media now, rather than comparing it to what's happened in the past. So they are up with the times, and I think that's why they are a little bit more accessible than maybe some of the other bands from Japan.
They get it. And that's why I was able to show you this behind the scenes stuff with them walking in. And because Baby Metal would never let us do that. Bandmate would never let us do that. So it's all on them. And give mad props to Sony Japan, because they get it.
Yeah, they get it now, because Sony UK had messaged me saying, hey, let us know if you need help with the reactions. Sony Japan is a different thing, but they do let you put up the videos now, where before they blocked them. There's still some that they block, like MA they still block. There's some that just don't go through. Man with a Mission still gets blocked. I don't know why. Just certain Japanese bands they're strict about, but not Hanabie though. But maybe it's in their contract. Maybe Hanabie is like, hey, look, reactions is what helped us a lot, so please don't block our videos. Maybe.
I don't know what it is, but they're way cool. And I even told them, I told Candace, I go, look, I know Yukina and Chica weren't here, and I'm sure they wanted to be in. And Yukina felt really bad that she couldn't make the interview. And I get it. She wanted to put her best foot forward, and she needed to rest. But I told them, I go, look, you come back again. I go, we'll sit down again with the whole band, and we'll do one more. And Candace was like real happy about that. And so was Hetsu and Matsuri. They were like, sure, we'll sit down again. So that's good. That just shows you that they get it. And they're also becoming popular on the Fox YouTube channel. Their little interview that I did at the time we went, there's over 40,000 views, which is pretty good for a band nobody's ever heard of in my world.
How many new fans do you think they acquired from the Fox News channel? Because I know a lot of that audience hadn't heard of them before.
I honestly, I can't give you a solid number, but they had to get a bunch, because I got a lot of responses to this through my friends here on the web team and stuff like that, saying that there's been a lot of response to this from not their core audience. I don't know how they figure out that metric, but yeah, I believe they definitely got more fans.
That's exciting to hear. And the way that they get that metric, for those that don't know, we have a click-through rate on YouTube. So if it'll tell us returning subscribers, and if that returning subscriber count goes up, that means that there's fans that are following the channel that actually watch. And that's how we find out if we know if fans or people that didn't know about them were actually watching the video.
So
awesome, man.
You just taught me something, because I had no idea how that works.
Yeah, that's how they figure it out. Yep.
All right.
And that's really important for YouTube, is to have the returning subscribers click on it. So that's cool that it intrigued them enough to click on it, because if you don't get the returning subscribers to check it out, then they don't push out the video. But luckily, the Hanabie fans also came to that. So make sure you keep a lookout for this interview. It should be coming out very soon. I'll have the link pinned down below as soon as it is out. Do you have a rough date of when you guys are releasing that interview?
I'm still waiting on the translations. So once I have the translations, 1 week.
Hey guys, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more coming. Joe and I have a lot of stuff in the works behind the scenes, and we're looking forward to announcing newer interviews and things like that. So again, Joe, I appreciate you coming on.
Peace.
Appreciate you all. If you could, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I know we say it all the time, but it really does help engaging in the channel, and it helps spread this music out to everyone. So I'll see you all in the next one. See you.